Lucid Motors is back on a rally yet again today, up 10.5% as we currently speak. Now, there's a lot of fronts to this. There still is a high short interest. There is a ton of option activity that is currently causing a gamma squeeze, as well as just hedge funds and institutions buying into the stock. But because of the Rivian IPO, this is actually supporting Lucid Motors valuation at the current moment. So we're going to talk about all of this, give you guys the scoop, what is going on, how high I think this could go, and how long I think this could last, and finally conclude this video with my Lucid Motors position. So let's get into this video, guys. Big congratulations to everybody that has been following this channel, these Lucid Motors videos, that has hit this one on the head we have been calling out over the past couple of weeks. Like I said, don't let me get too carried away with that. Hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you guys want access to all of my trades in real time, check out the link in the description for the buy and sell alerts. It is very inexpensive. We have been killing it over there. So let's not waste time. Let's get into this video. So Lucid Motors, like I said, up 10.23% as we currently speak at about $45 per share. On a technical setup, this looks incredibly good. This is a picture perfect rally setup, actually looking to break out past $45 and hit all-time, well, I shouldn't say all-time highs, since we were at about $65. Let me remind some of you guys are probably not too happy when I say that, but still hitting secondary all-time highs since we did actually merge and start trading as Lucid Motors. It looks like we're going to break out past $48.04 per share, which is our second highest level we have ever been at. Just on a technical basis, we went up to $48, fell back down, but we are still hitting higher lows, and then we have since bounced off of $40 back to $45. So right there, just incredibly bullish technical setup. Not too much else to say besides we're not seeing too crazy high volume. We're only about halfway through trading today, and we are at 44 million for volume, so it's not ridiculously high. It's not hundreds of millions of shares like we've seen back here, 377 million shares, but still, it's a higher than average volume day overall. So that's really what to know on the technical basis. We're going to circle back to this when we're talking about how high I think this could go and how long I think this could last. But I think there's other things to consider in the meantime. And the biggest thing that is causing this move today is obviously the Rivian IPO. And why this is causing such a big move is because Lucid Motors at its current valuation, let's see, what is Lucid Motors' current valuation right now? About $73 billion market cap. Rivian's market cap is about $100 billion. And Rivian is only supposed to produce 156 vehicles by the end of 2021. So Lucid Motors is already going to be delivering more vehicles for a higher average price than Rivian. The only difference is Rivian is backed by Amazon and Ford. Those are its two biggest shareholders. Amazon owns about 20%, whereas Ford owns about 10% of the company. So that is really the only reason to support Rivian's valuation, as well as Amazon has agreed to buy most of their vehicles. But is that really a good thing? Once Amazon deal is completed and they have sold all their vehicles, will there be demand for Rivian? Who knows? Some people say they like the vehicle, some people say they don't. But that doesn't matter in the sense of talking about the Lucid rally. If you're going to value a company that is arguably not even as good as Lucid Motors at $100 billion, I think it makes sense to say Lucid Motors is worth $73 billion or even equivalently $100 billion. Now, I don't think either one of these companies are really worth this amount, but who am I to say the marketplace is wrong? Who knows? We probably will get a correction at some point into the future, but I don't think it's going to be in the near term. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. I think tomorrow should be definitely a green day, and if this hype does last throughout next week should be good as well. So that's a little bit of a glimpse in how long I think this will last. I think definitely tomorrow, Friday obviously, and then throughout the rest of the week, next week should be pretty bullish. Now let's talk about some of the other data that you guys need to know. And first and foremost, when you're looking at the short interest of Lucid Motors, we have not actually moved around a lot. So October 29th was the settlement day. There was about 54 million shares that were sold short at about 10% of the free float. Right now, we are getting estimates of 8.3% short interest from Ortex. These estimates are off a lot of the time. Free float on loan is only saying 7.57%. So how is there an 8.3% short interest on free float? So I really like to take this with a huge grain of salt. I really like to go off the exchange reported short interest data. So give or take in between 8 and 10%, which is still a relatively high number when you're considering the shares that are sold short, because Lucid does have a pretty high float overall. And that's, like I said, 54.22 million shares. Share utilization is at 55.36%, which is going down, meaning there's more shares available to be sold short, which is obviously going to happen as the share price does go up, possibly seeing 4 share recalls on some of the short positions with Lucid Motors. And then, like I said, free flow on loan 7.57%, days to cover at 0.88%, meaning it's really easy to get out of your short position if you wanted to. So I don't know about a short squeeze per se, just because short interest not too high overall. You know, the percentage and the days to cover really low. But what you are seeing and what is having the biggest influence is probably just long-term buyers of shares and traders of shares as well. But this gamma squeeze situation is very obvious. So expiring on Friday, from the $40 strike to the $45 strike, you're looking at intense amounts, I think that's the best word to say, intense amounts of open interest that are being held in people's brokerage accounts. Not even that many traders, not even that high a volume for these contracts, but definitely a lot of contracts that are currently being held. At the $40 strike, about 9,000 contracts, 4,000 at the 41, about almost 5,000 at the 42, 7,500 at the 43, at the 44, 6,100, and then at the 45, about 22,000. Even after that, the numbers are still very elevated. 7,000, 4,600, 5,400, 3,600, and then 14,278 at the $50 strike. So to see Lucid Motors go to $50 by even tomorrow is definitely not off the table in my personal opinion. But like I always say, this goes without saying, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner. Always come to your own conclusions, do your own research. I am invested in Lucid Motors, so I do have a position in this for full transparency that we will go over at the end of this video as well. But even November 19th, the next week's expiration, which is the monthly expiration, you do see a ton of contracts that are currently in the money as well. From the $40 strike, same thing, to the $45 strike, you're looking at thousands on all of these expirations that are currently being held in people's brokerage accounts. At the $45 strike, take a look at that, 9,000 contracts. At the 48, 5,200, and at the $50 strike, 12,694. Now, I do expect by tomorrow, a lot of people will take their gains out of Lucid Motors options and or I should say this week's options, and put them into next week's options, which is obviously November 19th of 2021. Next week. So I do think this option chain is going to populate even more, but the chains just throughout, all of the rest of this year are pretty populated and even concentrated. Like this December, $45 strike, 11,000, and then at the 50, 55, 60, and 65, all having decently high open interest. Considering we're about 2 months out from that, definitely a strong sign for just a strong next couple of months with Lucid Motors. So I do think there will be some downside some point into the future, but I don't think it's going to be down to those $20 levels. I think that's pretty impossible. If you're going to value Rivian and other EV companies so high, Lucid Motors, is going to be valued high as well. What's the saying? That a rising tide lifts all boats. So it doesn't even really matter. All EV stocks are having a pretty green day today. Now, as far as the 13F filings, you are seeing a lot of bullish activity as well, with most of these positions in the range of $20 to $27 is the average share price. And you're seeing thousands of positions, most firms holding on to their positions, some firms selling out of their put positions. But overall, the consensus is very bullish here on Lucid Motors from the hedge funds and institutions, which is always something to note. You'll probably see some selling from the hedge funds and institutions at some point into the future. But, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not the only one that is seeing this. Hedge funds, institutions know this as well. Just because the Rivian situation, other EV stocks, Lucid's going to be valued highly as well. So that could probably hold off some institutions from selling most of their shares. And that is really the current situation. What's going on with the gamma squeeze, the potential for a short squeeze. You're just seeing a lot of FOMO buyers, a lot of traders as well, and the Rivian IPO situation. Now, let's talk about how long and how high I think this could go. And obviously, I think the highest this is likely to go is really about $65. That would put us at roughly the same valuation as Rivian, but you're going to get a lot of people that start to freak out as they do remember this moment right here where the floor basically dropped out. I actually made a video on this. This was back, what was this, February 20th, I think I made the video. February 22nd, it started just to crater, and I basically said, hey, this is gonna come down. I got in at $17, just being transparent. It's probably gonna come down, and to, you know, take some profits if you guys have not already is what I would do. People hated that video. It got 2 times the amount of dislikes than likes, but it dropped 45% just, you know, 2 days later. So, and I'm not saying I'm right here, but I think it's pretty obvious what is going to happen and how high this could go. Like I said, about $65 would probably be the highest, I would think. More likely, you know, $55 would be more likely, as you will probably start to see some resistance in between $55 and $65. So since we are breaking out to those levels, I will go ahead and mark this $55 level. That's going to be key and something that I'm going to be paying very close attention to overall. Now, let's get into my overall position. And before we get into that, I think this could definitely last a couple of weeks. I think just this motion of continuously going higher could definitely last a couple of weeks, but it could also come crashing down tomorrow. So just keep that in mind if you guys are making trades off of this. If you're a long-term investor, I don't think it's bad buying it at these prices, but I'm definitely not buying it at these prices because I think there will be a pullback. If you're trading it, by all means, feel free to trade it. So Lucid Motors currently at $44.76 per share. Market value of $13,435, up 9.9% today, about $1,200. In total, up about $7,000, 108.71%. And I only went big on this September 5th. It was my sister's birthday, and I was just doing a lot of due diligence, and I believed in the company, and that's basically why I went so big on this and why it's such a large portfolio diversity position in my account at 28.63%. If you believe in something, go big on it. That's especially if you're young, and that's obviously not a recommendation, but risk to reward ratios here made a lot of sense at $21.46 per share is my average price on all of these shares, 300 shares. And what I did do, which kind of screwed myself, but I do have an exit strategy for this, so hopefully I don't get assigned on these contracts, but I do have February 18, 2022 contracts. I sold the $42 strikes, which was stupid. I guess I didn't see there was other strikes on the chain or whatnot. Maybe they added more, but I didn't see this, and I sold these, so agreed to sell all my shares at $42 per share, which is still a 100% gain from where I bought them. But still, who wants to sell their shares? I don't want to pay a $7,000 tax bill. I'm good. But I sold these for $215 a piece, so I sold 3 of them. I only collected $645. Now, to buy these back and to not have to sell my shares at $42, it would be what, $1,205 per contract. So I'd be looking at $3,600 to get out of this trade. So a massively bad trade, but it's not actually a bad trade in the sense of, you know, it's a win-win for me. I'll just miss out on potential profits, and this is not actually affecting my portfolio at the current moment. But what I'm planning to do with this, I'm going to let this ride out. I don't know if Lucid will be under $42 by February. If it is, great. I probably won't let it ride out that long unless we're back down to like $30 per share. Then I'll just let these expire worthless. If we do come down, and what I expect to happen is I do expect that obviously Theta is going to start doing its thing on these contracts. If Lucid is, you know, staying at about these prices and we're getting to, you know, December and even January, you're going to see these contracts going down a lot in value. Really, by December, about 90 days out to expiration, you do see Theta start to do its thing, and you start to see contracts getting destroyed every single day. So as the premium does go down, that's where I can get out of these, or I could roll them over, because I don't want to roll them over to the $50 strikes as of right now. And that's basically where you buy back these contracts for $1,205 a piece, go out to, say, the May, you can go out to the $50 strike. You're collecting more than what you bought them for, so you'd actually make more money on that transaction alone, but you would agree to sell your shares at $50 per share. I might do that. I might just ride it out. Who really knows? I'm trying to figure that out at the current moment, but who knows. Big congratulations to everybody that has been trading Lucid Motors, has made money on this. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. That's going to conclude this video. Hit that like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, if you guys want access to all of my trades in real time, that was definitely not the best trade you've seen, but we have been killing all of the other ones, so check that out if you guys want to. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Love and appreciate every single one of you guys. I will see you in the next one.